I just finished reading the Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee. I went straight through all three books in the series: Jade City, Jade War, and Jade Legacy. So the Greenbone Saga follows essentially a crime family. It feels very much like a crime family, but it's not really a crime. That's kind of what it is. It's a clan of people who, have their own form of law, and they kind of compete against this other major clan for rule over this country, basically. And if you like, it feels it kind of feels like The Godfather, plus magic, which is a very refreshing setting. I've not read many books that kind of fit in that category. 5 good and bad things about the series. The first good thing is how realistic the characters all feel. You feel the growth of the characters, you feel the pain of the characters, you feel the joy. Every emotion that the characters are experiencing, you experience as a reader, and it's incredibly powerful. And as you go through all the books, the time passes pretty substantially across all 3 books, much more than you feel in normal series. Even then, like the Wheel of Time series, it's like 14 books. You don't feel the passage of time as heavily. In this series, it makes a point of just going through chunks of time, which makes it feel a little bit more realistic that all this stuff happens just over the course of 30 years, as opposed to this happens over the course of a week, which you get in some series. And the time jumps don't happen in between each book necessarily, but they happen across the whole series, which makes it feel like you feel these characters getting older. You feel like you're growing with them. You're feeling how they go from where they started in the first book to where they end in the final book. It feels much more weighty, I think, than other books. I definitely feel like the books as they went through the series got stronger. By far my favorite one was Jade Legacy. It was an excellent book. The emotional stakes of that book just were so high, and I don't generally find that I get emotionally connected to characters, but like the character of Hilo and Andon and Shay, those 3 really drove the series for me, and I just felt very connected to their arcs and them as people. So I just and the final book is such a powerful conclusion to all their stories that it just really resonated with me. I just think the series just got better as it went on. I read the first book, Jade City, and I was like, all right, it's interesting enough. And I happened to have all 3 of them, so I just went through, and I'm so glad I did, because it was such a satisfying ending to a series. The other thing that I think was specifically bogged down Jade City, the first book, for me, was the kind of lack of explanation of what felt like a very hard magic system. Like the magic system, it definitely had rules, it had limits. It had, only specific people could use it, could take advantage of the system, and how that dynamic played out. And I feel like it wasn't explained that well in the first book. Maybe I missed something, but I just felt like I was always playing catch up throughout. Like I was like, all right, what are these people capable of? And you kind of get a feel as it goes through the book of what people are capable of with the magic system, but you don't really. It's not really laid out that well, I think, in the initial book. So it felt like there should have been like some solid rules explained. And I feel like they had that opportunity, because one of the main characters, Andon, is going through school during that first book, and you would imagine that would be like a really great time to kind of lay out the rules as to what they're able to do. And I just don't think that it took its opportunity with that learning experience to have us as a reader learn about the magic system. With that being said, the magic system and the magic and fantasy and all that jazz, that wasn't necessarily the part that sold me on the series. Like I said, it was the emotional stakes of the characters, um, the just the roller coaster that these people went through, and that's one of the things that I really found truly gripping with the book. And like the action sequences are cool, right? Because they have the magic and that's fun. But that wasn't really what got me. It was the sheer fact that so many people die in the series that you do not know the outcome of basically any scene. Like at any point, your favorite character could just die. It could happen. You don't know when, how, where, and I think that is a huge benefit to this kind of series where the characters are what make it feel so real, and you just don't know what's going to happen. It felt very real, which I don't think a lot of series can get because you're going to have to follow these characters for a long time. No, you just kill them off and move on to your next character and hope they make it through the end of the series. So I really liked that. It really, really made the book, especially the action sequences, feel tense because you could not guess the outcome. So I really, really liked that. Yeah, so those are pretty much my thoughts on the Greenbone Saga. Fantastic. I, again, liked the final book a lot more than the first book. So my enjoyment improved throughout the series, but I really do feel like it's an excellent read. If you have a chance to read them all in a row, that really was a really powerful experience because, again, you feel that passage of time and you kind of sit with these characters as they grow up all in a row. And that was really something. So should you read the Greenbone Saga? I would say yes if you like that kind of Godfather-esque, almost, you're following bad people, but you support them because, that's the perspective of the story. And if you kind of flip that perspective, you don't know necessarily if the people you're following would be traditional good guys. Two, if you like more wider arching stories, it's focused on many, many different characters across 30 plus years. So the story feels very broad and a very wide, has a wide spectrum of characters and storytelling, which I think was very appealing to me because I really like those kind of more. I like broader stories. And then three, if you really like to feel emotionally attached to the characters in your story, because these characters are just so well written and are so and their stories are so emotionally told that you can't help but just feel what they're feeling, and it's a really powerful story. So those are my thoughts on the Greenbone Saga. I absolutely would recommend checking it out.